Well, folks, as crypto finally starts to show us some green on this absolutely amazing Sunday, with Ethereum up 12%, with Bitcoin up 8%, and many of our altcoins up between 8 to 10%, people are starting to say, well, was $17,000 to $18,000, was that the bottom? Can we finally start to expect some growth? Can we finally start to expect this thing to stop crashing on us? And in today's video, I wanted to take a look at, just take a look at my outlook on the entire market, let you guys know how I'm feeling about what's going on right now, and what I do believe is going on behind the scenes, and as to why it is affecting my current investment strategies. So let's not waste any time. We have a lot to talk about. Let's get straight into the video. So of course, what we have been seeing again, if we just quickly look at Bitcoin is currently sitting right around $20,400 as we did erase all of yesterday's extreme losses. Now, although that is good and although that is exciting, one thing we have to understand is that, again, this is expected in such a large crash. First and foremost, when we see these huge crashes, the bulls are going to step in every now and then at some of these levels that will cause these relief rallies. We've been seeing that a lot within our whales, right? If you start to look at something like Michael Saylor buying another 20,000 Bitcoin just recently, if you look at something like this whale, this current whale with $2.6 billion worth of Bitcoin, they've been in mass accumulation. They've been buying, between this $20,000 to $22,000 range over the last couple of days. So as we do start to see these lower levels get reached, many of our whales are going to step in and start doing some buying, and that is going to boost overall investor confidence and have some of the bulls, or of course, as we did see in this tweet right here, the bulltards, to start buying. Now, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I can't really say. But what I can say is that it's never a terrible idea to follow the whales whenever they start buying. It's never a terrible idea to start buying. But what I will say is to understand that we are at the mercy of the whales, and they will do anything they possibly can to take your crypto, to take your Bitcoin, to force extreme emotions out of you in order to gain as much market share as they possibly can. Now, Nicholas from Data Dash, he said it absolutely beautifully just a couple of days ago. He said, no one's paying attention to the fact that Bitcoin and ETH are getting crushed while altcoins have been neutral or up over the last 6 days. Yes, the macro-driven downturn, we get that, but someone is purposefully chasing liquidations to exasperate the sell-off and force players out. And what he means by this is that as we have been starting to see the market crash, we can clearly see that the whales are manipulating as much as they can to force liquidations from major players such as Celsius or any of those other companies that are publicly talking about their liquidation levels. And so what this means is that we need to do our best to not get wrapped up in these whale games. What we can see is that many people have been doing just that. Over the last 24 hours, over $314 million worth of liquidations have happened, the majority of that being from Bitcoin at $130 million, with Ethereum sitting at $112 million. Now, what we can see is that the majority of these are shorts. What does that mean? Well, what happens is that as the market starts to fall, people start to get overconfident that the market is going to continue to fall. We see the death headlines, everyone saying that, oh, this thing's never going to recover. And so they start to say, well, I think it's going to go to $10,000 or $12,000. So let's go ahead and short this thing on leverage. As that leverage does build and build and build, and the shorts just continuously getting higher and higher, the whales step in, the manipulation starts. They start to pump the price of crypto back to the top side, of course, liquidating those leverage traders who thought that the market was going to continue to fall to the downside. As they do start to get liquidated, of course, that does decrease their market share, and of course, you can see that that is happening throughout almost all cryptos right now. Even Solana, Doge, Litecoin, GMT, and Ape have seen millions of dollars in liquidations as people were expecting the market to fall, and as they did get a little bit of a relief rally, they lost on those trades here. The issue then becomes that as that starts to happen, and as we start to see those shorts get liquidated in these relief rallies, the confidence becomes too much. They say, well, Michael Saylor's buying. Oh, that huge whale is buying. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leverage. Now, not only am I going to buy or leverage, I'm going to leverage long. I'm going to say, oh, this is the relief rally that gets us back to $28,000, $29,000. And then that's where the trouble starts. Well, usually a follow after that is something similar to what we saw earlier about 4 or 5 weeks ago now, in which we started to see this happen, in which these short players who thought the market was going to continue to fall at this point, as soon as the market pushed back up right here to $31,000, they all got liquidated, right? They were like, oh, nope, my position's closed. It's not going to continue to fall. Maybe we found a bottom. Maybe we continue to the top side, right? So all of them get liquidated that thought the market was going to continue down to these levels. Then the market goes back up above $30,000 and everyone's like, oh my goodness, we cleared the 20-day simple moving average. We held it a little bit. We're back above 30. We're holding 30 on multiple days. So I'm going to go long because the bottom's in. Then what do you know? As soon as investor confidence becomes prevalent and the the leverage starts to grow, the market corrects to the downside to not only then liquidate, after liquidating the shorts, they also went ahead to liquidate the longs on the top side before continuing this pump to the downside, okay? What we can see here is clear manipulation and clear people taking advantage of the leverage in the market right now. And so what I would say is that while they are chasing this leverage, while they are chasing these liquidations, while they are purposefully trying to take as much market share as they can, the best thing we can do is to not diverge from our investment strategies and to stay on path as much as I can. What do I mean about that? What I mean is that if your whole game plan is to dollar cost in $100, $200 every single week, stick to that game plan. Just because you see a little bit of a bottom get put in doesn't mean, oh, the bottom's in. Let me put all of my available cash in right now, because next thing you know, we could continue to the downside. Or if your game plan is, to simply dollar cost average, but the market's crashing so much that you're like, well, if it's going to keep crashing, I don't want to keep dollar cost averaging in because my money's going down. So I'm going to just start leverage shorting this thing. Since I've been dollar cost averaging so much, I've lost so much money, I'm going to make my money back. So I'm going to go extreme mode. I'm going to start shorting on some leverage. And next thing you know, the market gets a bit of a relief rally. And then you get liquidated and lose even more money because that is their goal. They want you to make extreme emotional investment decisions that are likely going to lose your market share. They want your market share. So the best thing you can do is establish a strategy, set that strategy, and do not diverge away from that strategy no matter what happens, just in a daily candle or a weekly candle. Okay. So what I'm doing personally right now is I'm going to simply accumulate at these certain levels that I like. And every single week, I'm going to add some Bitcoin and add some Ethereum. I don't believe it is a great idea right now to be adding in on things like Solana and ADA and all of those other ones, because it just does seem like Bitcoin and Ethereum are the best places to be at this point in terms of risk to reward. But in the long term, of course, I think ADA, Solana, all of them are going to go up, but their time will come where I'm more focused on altcoins, okay? So overall, I'm just buying some Bitcoin, I'm buying some Ethereum. Right now, I'm not buying any at all. I do think that this is very likely going to be a relief rally, and the only thing that could happen to convince me otherwise is that we get back above this key level of resistance right here, around $23,000. If we clear $23,000 and hold it, I think there's a strong chance we do start to revisit some of these higher levels, and then at that point, I might start to go, a little bit more bullish, but at this point, I'm definitely not doing so just off of this one day of green that we've been seeing recently, okay? So overall, that's just my update for the week, or the beginning of the week going into this week here, is don't get too ahead of yourself and don't start to make extreme decisions just because we start to see one day of green. This is in no way the confirmations that we need to say that the bottom is in, and it is in no way a time where we should start to go extreme bull mode just because we're starting to see a little bit of gains in the market, okay? So that's going to be about it. Of course, I will have another video coming for you in the morning, so do stay tuned for that. I think it'll likely be an ADA video or a Solana video, one of the two, and I'll just let you guys know how I'm feeling about it. So if you don't want to miss that, of course, turn on notifications, and if you do want access to every trade that I do make in the upcoming week, go ahead and check out my Patreon down below. But with that said, that's going to be about it, and I will see you all next time. Peace.